My name is Biz Manser. I am 17 and I am a senior at Simon Kenton High School.
I'm Brady Baker. I'm a senior at Cooper.
I'm Megan Ashley. I go to Ryle and I'm a senior.
I'm Emily Villari. I go to Cooper High School.
I'm Jake Erdman. I go to Ryle. I'm a senior.
Always raised in like a Catholic family. We went to church, never really understood like what they were trying to tell me. The only thing I really cared about was playing volleyball and sports. That's where I put all my time and energy in.
Before I met Christ, my life was centered around just doing the best I could in everything, and if I messed up, I felt like I hadn't done well enough.
I grew up a Christian, but not really, because like that's just what I was told I was, and I never really like cared or looked into it, and I never really acted upon it. It caused me to like make a lot of friends that I didn't care about, and a lot of like relationships that never lasted and would always fall through, and then I would like hate myself for it, and just it was boring, and it was uneventful, and it was like nothing.
I like went to church and I went to religion class, but I did it because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, but I didn't really get anything from that. I play volleyball and I love it, but I really put a lot of my worth in that, and I define myself by my performance. And I felt really alone a lot because my friends were going out and like going to parties and drinking, but I didn't really want to do that.
Before Christ, like as a child, I was in a kind of a church family. We went every once in a while, but I was one of those kids that just went for the donuts and coffee. Through middle school, I didn't go to church at all because my parents got divorced, and that was kind of sucky, so none of us did anything really. I got kind of really depressed through the divorce, and I ended up hanging out with some people that weren't really the best.
I've always heard about like Young Life camp and Young Life, but I never really like went into like the actual clubs until like my junior year. One of my friends actually told me about it and like told me when it was, and I went and I totally like fell in love. I fell in love with like the atmosphere, just like how loving everyone was.
And my friend Christina Oots came up to me and was like, "Hey, you should come to club." And I was like, "What is that and why should I even go?" So I went to club, and it was so fun. Like I just had like the most fun, and there was like a bunch of cool older people, but they didn't act like they were cooler than me. They acted like I was cool for coming. I don't know, I just never had felt that immediately accepted into anything because I was so used to having like relationships that just didn't work. And so coming into it was just like immediate acceptance. And then at the very end, somebody came up and started talking about Jesus, and I was like, oh no, it's one of those things. Like, of course they would drag me to this. Like, I've already get enough of this at church. I don't want to go to that, so why would I want to come to this? But they started telling me about Jesus in like a new way that I could understand, and that wasn't like accusing me of anything or judging me for anything. First club I went to, it was crazy. I remember walking into a basement in the middle of a neighborhood somewhere in a person's house that I didn't even know, and there was like, I don't even know, like 60, 70 people there just going crazy, jumping, chanting, screaming, yelling, singing a bunch of crazy songs. I went back to club. I remember it was October 1st, the day. The guy who was speaking, one of the leaders, it was a different leader this time, but one of the leaders, he was talking about idols. And he said that all the stuff that you try to fill that empty void with, it's not working, it's not gonna work. And I just remember thinking to myself, you know, he's so right. I've tried everything and none of it worked. By the end of that talk, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I knew that it was the right answer, and I knew that that was what was going to fill that hole in my heart.
Everyone that was like at club kept building up camp like it was the best week of their life. Everyone thought it was like the best thing ever. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about because I've never been. But Kelly The only reason actually why I even went to camp was because my leader, Kelly, every day she would be texting me, calling me, let me get your deposit. Like, when can I get that?
When I was in 8th grade, I was running cross country on the varsity team with a couple of guys that I knew. And our assistant coach was Greg Tiki, and he was a Young Life leader. And he kind of invited me to summer camp, and that was really my first experience with Young Life was summer camp. So it was a pretty awesome first experience.
Stepping off the bus going to camp was like very overwhelming. Like everyone was like in your face, like, woo, like going crazy. And I was like, I don't know what to expect.
Well, I wanted to go because everyone just seemed so excited, and I really liked hanging out with these people. So I was like, okay, this looks really cool. Camp was awesome. It was the best week of my life. They really weren't kidding. And the food was awesome. And it's the first time like I heard the gospel in a way like I never heard it before.
By the end of my sophomore year, I got invited to go to summer camp. I got there and it was like club all the time because everybody was so happy and everybody was just like dancing around and singing and everything was perfect. The food was great and like the atmosphere was amazing. Even the workers there were just like, they're just different, you know? And I knew that there was something different about them.
My first year of camp was sophomore year because I didn't get to go freshman year, but I went sophomore year, and like I can say now, like that was one of the biggest regrets, was not getting to go freshman year. And I just remember like looking out and just seeing everything and seeing all these kids like wandering around and just having fun without like technology and without any distractions like alcohol or drugs or anything to like that kids think that they need to have fun, and then seeing them just having like the best week of their life. And I realized like that's all because of Jesus and that's all because of Young Life.
When I first met Christ, it was at summer camp, and it was really just thanks to like the love of like my leader, Tiki, and 2 older guys, Jake and Mark. They just really loved me the whole week and answered any questions I had.
But I'm glad that Drummy was my leader because I came in and I didn't know her at all, and I didn't even want her to be my leader at first because I was so used to having like all those senior girls around. But then Drummy came in and she pulled me aside for my one-on-one. The next thing I know, we're talking for like an hour and a half about my life and everything in it. And like that was probably the closest to a person almost I've ever felt.
The second year I went to camp, I invited a bunch of my friends from the cross-country team and just from around school. And most of them ended up meeting Jesus that week, that was probably one of the best like experiences of my life.
Post-camp was actually like kind of hard because coming back to reality kind of like, it was difficult, like, because I came back and I had volleyball and I had work and I had school, and then I was like, how do I balance all this and Jesus? I played school volleyball, but I quit my club team. And it's actually the best thing that ever happened to my relationship with Jesus, because instead of defining myself as a volleyball player, I like found a new identity in Jesus.
Because of Young Life, I met people that could help me and like introduce me to Christ and like could like guide me through. I don't know, I'm just a lot happier as a person, and I don't look at myself in a negative way anymore because like Jesus doesn't. He doesn't look at me negatively, so I don't have to either.
The number one thing that I have kept through my walk with Christ is I want to give people what I've been given.
So I'm in my senior year and I'm going to Western Kentucky next year, and I'm going to be a Young Life leader.